Hey everybody, how's it going? I want to talk about wolves in sheep's clothing, and sometimes it's who you least expect it's going to be. And I'm going to let you know that I'm going to say 101, watch out for people that you never felt safe around from even young on. It could be a sibling, a cousin, an aunt, an uncle, etc. It's someone that always kind of picked on you, bullied you, called you names, and said cruel things to you. Because even though we want to believe that we have to have a relationship with our siblings, sometimes those siblings, in turn, have always had it out for you and will not stop until they bring you to your knees. So, growing up, my oldest sister, who was only 10 and a half months older than me and ended up being shorter than me, so I superseded her in height very young on. I was required to be my sister's keeper, so my mom would always say, "You got to take care of your sister, you got to check on your sister, and it's your responsibility, blah, blah, blah." And I realized, even in our childhood home, she was not kind to me. And so I left for the military and did my thing. And when my kids decided to estrange, she was, I believe, one of the driving forces behind it. And I remember everything was on an even keel. Went to see her because she had had a snafu at work, was hanging out, and now this is a number of years after my daughters had been estranged. I knew my daughter, my youngest, had one or two children by that time, and I was hanging out with my sister, and she said, "Oh, I met your grandchild." And I said, "How did you meet her?" She goes, "Well, a year ago, your daughter asked me to meet her at grandma's house so she could introduce her daughter to our grandma." And I said, "Oh my goodness." And she showed me pictures, and I was inside devastated. And part of me said, "Well, it's good that my daughter has a relationship with my sister, because then I'll know if she's alive and if she's okay." And then I realized it was just an underhanded way to just hurt me again. And so, oh my goodness. So that was kind of the first thing. And then second thing happened was my sister ends up talking to the man who raped me while I was in the military, and she had befriended him. And oh my goodness. And then I couldn't believe it. Had a falling out with her, and then she ends up showing up at this rummage sale I was holding, and she said, "Yeah, your kids don't even like you." And I about had a nervous breakdown because I had not confronted her and she had not explained herself, and I almost was arrested because of my outburst. And then I disconnected from my sister, and she sends my husband a message while we were just dating. She said, "Stay away from her. She's a ticking time bomb." I said, "Oh my goodness." Unfortunately, we were able to ignore her. And then subsequent to that, I went to a wedding and saw my sister there. It was at my youngest sister's wedding, and my oldest sister kept jumping in pictures, and I kind of gave her a hug, and she said, "I'm sorry," and I forgave her, but she never explained why she talked to that individual. And so you have to really truly be careful, because these people that claim they love you and they're sorry, oh, they're not. They just want access to you so they can continue doing what they do best, which is targeting you, aiming, and bringing you to your knees. For some odd reason, there is something so mentally and psychologically wrong with someone who lives this kind of life. And I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you, I've heard that my sister has cancer. And it's not a common type of cancer, nor is it a cancer that runs in our family. But when I heard about that, I was not surprised. Because I truly believe a cancerous person will truly, eventually, reap what they sow. And I, in no means, am hoping that anyone has cancer or anyone passes away from a painful death. But there's something to be said for someone that causes harm to others, that was primarily only kind to them. So, anyways, those are the people you have to watch out for. The most toxic people in the world are those that have access to us, who have resided with us and know what gets to us the most. knows what will break our hearts even further. So, although I do not wish any ill will on certain individuals, when I hear that they are suffering in life, I am not surprised. But that's between them and God. They have to answer to Him and Him alone. But stay away from people that have been cruel. That's all I've got, and I will be back.